You awaken in the middle of the night to an empty bed. Beside you, a half-eaten apple core. You remember now. You were so hungry, you literally felt like a wolf, and the only food in sight was your roommate's untouched bowl of cereal. And then the moon. It was full, fat, and ripe like a second apple. How could you resist? For the next few hours, you ransacked your roommate's kitchen, gorging yourself on instant noodles, leftover pizza, even dog food. Then you curled up again in your bed, feeling disgust and shame at your behavior. But before long, sleep pulled you under once more. When you awoke next morning, you found a note from your roommate. "Thanks for the midnight snack," it read, "and for not setting off the burglar alarm. Love, your roommate." Below that, scrawled in messy handwriting, another note. "Don't steal my food when I'm not home again." You smile sheepishly. Maybe tomorrow you'll leave the window unlocked just a little bit, just enough for a midnight snack to come in. Or maybe you won't. Maybe tomorrow you'll be strong enough to resist. Will you be? It all depends on the decisions you make today. See, what you experienced overnight wasn't just a bout of intense hunger. It was a craving so powerful it made you act out of character, break your own rules, and compromise your morals. So the question is, how do you stop something like this from happening again? Well, luckily for you, science already has the answer. In fact, scientists have been studying cravings for decades. They've uncovered exactly what happens in our brains when we're overcome with desire, how we can fight back against cravings, and most importantly, why we should. Imagine your brain as a bustling city. Most of the time things run smoothly, but occasionally trouble brews. Your phone bill is late, the milk has gone bad, and your car needs a wash. These are your brain's version of minor annoyances, things you don't really notice until they become major problems. And this is where cravings come in. They're the brain's way of reminding you that something's amiss. Your body needs your attention. The problem is cravings can be incredibly persuasive. Studies show that the desire for just one bite of a delicious dessert can activate the same reward centers in your brain as 200 bars of chocolate. That's because your brain's craving centers, your limbic system, are hardwired to prioritize immediate gratification over long-term consequences. Basically, your brain wants what it wants, and it wants it right now. But why? Why does your brain sometimes demand what it wants and throw caution to the wind? Well, researchers believe it all comes down to three: habit, stress, and chemistry. Let's start with habit. Think of a smoker lighting up after a meal. Chances are you've been conditioned to associate post-dinner relaxation with a cigarette. The two activities have become linked in your brain. Now, if you suddenly try to break the habit, your brain will understandably revolt, triggering intense cravings and irritability. But there's also stress. See certain cravings pop up when we're anxious or bored. Think junk food while watching TV or comfort food during tough times. That's because these cravings often provide temporary distraction or pleasure. And lastly, there's chemistry. Cravings can be triggered by the mere sight, smell, or even memory of a food or activity. Scientists believe that specific foods and activities trigger the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that makes you feel pleasured. Over time, your brain starts associating these foods and activities with dopamine release, making them harder and harder to resist. So how do you stop your brain from acting on its cravings? Well, first you have to understand what you're up against. Cravings can be as powerful as addiction, which means fighting them head on probably won't work. In fact, studies show that suppressing cravings often makes them worse. Instead, the best tactic is distraction. If you find yourself craving junk food, go for a walk, call a friend, do anything but give in to the craving. Not only will this help you resist the craving, but it'll also help you feel more in control of your decisions. Next, try to understand the craving. Is it habit, stress, or chemistry? Once you figure that out, you can address it. For example, if it's stress, try to relax. If it's chemistry, try to find another source of pleasure. Finally, don't go into this alone. Tell your friends about your cravings and ask for their support. After all, you'll be more likely to succeed if you don't have to fight off both your craving and your friend's temptation. This is a service from Minute Earth.